My brother randomly started belittling me as a woman and ended up getting put in his place by my husband. Now my parents are forcing me to choose between my future family and my present family. Posted by u/thrower battle pit 393. This past weekend, my husband, 29M, and I, 26F, were over at my parents' house for a barbecue. The day was going great until, for some reason, my brother, 28M, started to have a go at me, calling me names and belittling me. My husband pulled my brother aside and had a talk with him, and the insult stopped. An hour or so later, we were standing around talking with some friends and family members when my brother came up to me and called me a WHRE. His exact words were, "You know you are a effing WHRE, right?" He said it loud enough for almost everyone at the party to hear. All I saw was my husband next to me looking at me, then I felt a gentle push to the side as my husband stepped in front of me. The next thing I saw was my brother out cold on the ground with blood on his face, and all I heard was my mother yelling and my husband saying, "You don't talk to my wife like that. I warned you already." Before I continue, I want to clarify that my husband didn't hurt me. He didn't push me hard or anything like that. It was more like the kind of nudge someone gives when they're trying to pass by. I only took one step back, that's all. I'm not mad at my husband. I'm mad at my brother. The whole day, he was demeaning me, insulting me, and belittling me. I don't know where this came from, as he has never spoken to me like that or to anyone else that I know of. The bigger problem I have now is that I have to choose, either my husband or my parents. My parents are furious and have given me an ultimatum: either I leave my husband and divorce him, or they will cut me off completely. My husband doesn't care that they're angry, the only thing he's upset about is that he only got one punch in, as he put it. I love my husband and don't want to lose him, but I also don't want to lose my parents. They have supported me through so much and have always been there for me. I know they are serious because this is the first time they have ever issued me an ultimatum. They even threatened my husband with an assault charge, but he doesn't care and welcomed them to do it. I'm stuck with a decision that will change my life forever, and I'm panicking. I've received messages from friends and other family members who have given me support and condemned my husband, but they seem to lean more toward the supportive side. Any advice would be appreciated. Edit. To clarify, I am choosing my husband. I have never questioned that, but I also don't want to lose my family. I am very family-oriented, and family means everything to me. I want to find a solution where I can keep both. Update 1 day later. First, I would like to thank everyone, and I also want to apologize for the way I worded my previous post. There's no excuse, but my emotional state isn't the best. My husband is my choice, and I have no intention of leaving him at all, I never have. I know it's early for an update, but I'm now more confused about what is going on. My parents invited me over to have a talk, but they wanted me to come alone because they didn't want my husband at their house. My husband refused to let me go alone, saying that if he couldn't accompany me, then I shouldn't go either. He said, "If you're there alone, they'll just pile on you, and I won't let that happen," so we went together. My parents were not happy to see him. My mother looked like she wanted to say something, but my husband told her he was there for me, not them, and that if he was forced to leave, I would leave with him. I agreed with him. Reluctantly, they agreed to let him stay. My brother was also there. He had a broken nose and chipped teeth and refused to look at me or my husband, keeping his eyes on the ground even while speaking. Apparently, my brother recently broke up with his girlfriend, or rather, she broke up with him about a month ago. I don't know the reason, nor do I care, as we aren't that close. According to him, he lashed out at me over the weekend because my perfect life with my husband kept appearing on his social media feeds, making him jealous. Everything I post on social media is related to my husband, and I don't really use it for anything else. Seeing my posts repeatedly set him off because I had something he no longer did. Things got worse for him when he overheard a discussion I had with my mother about having children. My husband and I are currently trying to have a baby, and that made things even worse in his mind. His life was falling apart, while mine seemed perfect, and I had or was trying to have what he had wanted with his ex. He admitted that he didn't take my husband seriously when my husband pulled him aside and warned him. I genuinely don't understand why my brother went after me since nothing he said was true. I asked him why he made those remarks, but he refused to answer. I specifically questioned why he called me a WHRE, especially since he knows my husband was my first and only partner all these years. He still refused to answer. I even asked if trying to have a baby with my husband made me a WHRE because it involves bedroom intimacy, and he just left the room. I then asked my parents why they didn't intervene and tell my brother to leave or stop. My dad said he wanted to, but my mother told him to let my brother be since he wasn't physically hurting anyone. The same rationale was applied to the ultimatum they gave me. They wanted to protect my brother. When I asked, "What about me?" they fell silent. My dad eventually admitted that the ultimatum was my mother's idea, and he just went along with it. This is where we stand now. A lot more was said, but I don't think it matters. My husband did apologize to my parents for what happened but refused to apologize to my brother. When my mother asked him to do so, he firmly said no. He said he wouldn't apologize for standing up for me and added that my brother got what he deserved, having been warned but choosing not to listen. My mother argued that this still didn't justify my husband hitting my brother. My husband then asked my dad what he would do if someone called his wife a WHRE. My dad said he would talk to that person but never resort to violence. My husband laughed and called my dad a weak-willed, spineless man for allowing someone to demean his wife like that. My mom's face flushed with anger, and at that point, I told my husband it was time to leave. I told my parents that I would be going low contact with them. I explained that the ultimatum they imposed broke the trust I had in them. While I understand their desire to protect my brother, they hurt me in the process. This seemed to deflate my mother's anger. They asked if I would be cutting them out entirely, and I said that would depend on them. I mentioned that I want nothing to do with my brother at the moment since he can't even apologize for his words. I told my parents that if they can respect my wishes, we'll see where things go. As we left, my husband still greeted my parents politely but told my dad it was time to grow a backbone. I think I saw a hint of shame on my mother's face. My dad looked at her, and she turned away from him. This is where we are now. On the way home, my husband apologized for possibly escalating things but said it was time someone told my dad the truth. He assured me that whatever consequences come, he will handle them any fallout. He told me I don't need to worry or stress about anything.